All right, we are back. Thank you again, Shamika. So before the quick break, you were going to share with us who was Shamika before motherhood. So you can go ahead from there.
Oh, okay. I was a student. Um, I went to school in North Carolina, and then from there I went to Pennsylvania. I was a world traveler. I actually grew up a military brat, so we moved around a lot. But I got that bug in me, so I traveled a lot. I had a girlfriend who would take jobs in different countries, and then I would go visit her for a week or so. So I loved
Oh,
to
I love
travel. I was, I what they call a hustler. Like I had three jobs, trying to get hours. So I was a middle school reading specialist. Um, I taught at a prison, and I did adjunct work at a community college in Pennsylvania. So I was always working. I was a workaholic. But once I had children, I had to stop that.
Mhm. Well, I like Shamika. Shamika's my kind of girl.
Thank you.
Yeah, to share some about me, I too am a military child. My dad was in the Air Force, so we traveled. Yeah, so we traveled a lot, and so I definitely have that bug in me as well. And your friend's like my kind of friend I want to get to know. Where you can go and travel and stay with her for a week in a different country. That is exciting.
Yeah.
So, of your travels, what are some of your favorite spots?
Um, Ghana. Ghana was my favorite. Tokyo was a close second. Yeah.
Those are great spots, and I want to go to both. Actually, like next year, I'm planning because I'm actually turning 40. Can you believe it?
Mm.
So I turn 40 next year, and so like I want to do like my African adventure is what I've been calling it. So I want to plan a trip to Kenya and Tanzania, and hopefully get to Zanzibar if I
I
can.
do want to go there as well. I just want to
Yeah,
spend a month on a continent.
me too. I just want to spend a good couple months if I could,
Mhm.
in the different sides of the continent. Like I want to go to East Africa first. So that's for some reason I feel called to Kenya, so I want to go there first.
Yeah.
And Tokyo, I would love to go to Asia. I've never been to Asia. During my dad's travel in the Air Force, it was more so in Europe. So we were like in Germany,
Yeah.
and we had visited like Amsterdam and other countries. I was young, so I was like a little baby in the picture, but I was there.
Yeah, I lived in Germany as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. And going along the lines of travel, have you traveled with your family, with your kids, and what's that experience been like?
We haven't traveled internationally, but Davis's first airplane ride was on his first birthday. His birthday falls in a lot of my spring break, and so he and I flew to Atlanta, so he could meet the family. And he's been flying ever since. He loves airplanes. He loves hotels. He's
Mm-hmm.
weird like that. Both of my kids do, because we travel so much. So we usually don't stay with family, because there's so many dietary restrictions with him. We
Mm-hmm.
travel with our food because of that.
Yeah.
So we stay in hotels because it just makes things easier.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly those with like, a kitchenette or something. Just so we don't have to bother anybody with that.
Yeah.
They love hotels. They just love being in hotels, and they love to travel. They love to get on a plane. So they're well traveled. I asked him today actually if he could go anywhere in the world, where would he go? And he said he wanted to see the Caribbean Sea.
That is so sweet.
So
Oh, I love that.
yeah.
So are you now making plans
Yeah,
for
we're
this year or for
making,
next year? For this year or next year, you're thinking?
um hopefully this year we'll see where COVID takes us. I'm
Right.
going to go back to Africa in January for work, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, awesome. Are you able to take your kids with you for that trip as well?
I'm not.
Okay.
They want to go,
Yeah.
but I'm not able to take them. We'll have to go on our own.
Oh, how nice. Are you going back to Ghana or a different country?
Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah.
When it's time for me to plan my trip to Ghana, I know who to call.
Oh, yeah.
People there, where to go and where to stay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and actually, just to share it too, I'm not sure if you knew, but I did start a nonprofit. It's called Shades of Autism Parent Network. And a part of the organization is really what you just described, is to encourage parents with autism, with kids with autism, to take them traveling and seeing the world. And so one of the foundations, a part of it is to help them, if they don't have it, get their child a passport so that they can go and see the world. Okay, but our kids have no limits around them unless we place it on them what others do. They should be able to see the world just like the rest or anyone else. And experience those kinds of, to me, joys of seeing things outside the U.S. So I just wanted to share that with you because right now we're in the plans of making some family trips for 2022.
Okay.
So I've been asking, getting some feedback from others on what countries would they like to visit with their children. So I initially heard about doing a cruise potentially, like a Southern Caribbean cruise, one that came to mind for spring break next year. So we're planning for a family trip for spring break 2022. I also heard of Mexico. We're thinking of Caribbean kind of areas. And welcome to your thoughts on countries that have the Caribbean Sea is great for Davis. What you want to see?
Yeah, those are great ideas. I think anywhere where there's a beach where the kids can frolic and have fun. Although I know with some there may be some sensory issues. So Mexico, I think, is great. It's close by. It's not too far, so the plane ride wouldn't be as long. I think for the first trip for a lot of these kids, the first international trip, it probably shouldn't be a 15-hour flight. Especially if they've never been on a plane before, so kind of working their way up to that.
Right.
So I think the cruise is a great idea because you get to see different places at one time. Yeah, that's a great idea. I like that idea.
Oh, good. Well, then I will give you the tip, and anyone who's watching, they'll find out too.
Okay.
But look out because that's on the way for March. I think the week of 6th through the 13th. It's like the second week in March we're thinking of. But I'm glad to get a pole person for a cruise.
Yeah. Count us in. We'll be willing to go.
Oh, good. I will definitely keep you on the post with that. All right. So my other questions I have is, so how have you been able to juggle all that you're doing? You're working, you're a professor, you're a mother of two, you have friends and family that love you, but how are you making time for yourself? Like, how are you managing your own self-care and all this?
It's a good idea. I used to go to concerts a lot, but that has been shut down because of COVID. What I've started doing is renting a hotel for the night, just leaving my boys with their father and just going to a hotel and just not doing anything, sleeping, watching bad movies, just doing nothing. That's self-care for me. Travel used to be, another self-care thing for me as well. Maybe going somewhere with friends, for a weekend or for a few days. Luckily, I have the support of, my mother actually lives here, and my husband, he can handle the boys. Now he can, that they're a little bit older. So I'm able to kind of do a little bit more traveling now on my own. Not too long, but even if it's just a couple of days, just spending time with friends or whatever, like a girls' trip or something. That's my self-care.
Love that. Yeah, and same here too. Whenever you can find a day to yourself, even an hour to drive around, like I'm one of those moms with the memes of going to the grocery store is self-care.
Target, right?
Right? Okay, the Target self-care doesn't get me out of the house. I'll take it.
Yeah, or even just going for a quick walk. Over the pandemic, we did a lot of hiking together, so that was really therapeutic.
That is good.
Out in nature.
Well, along the lines of self-care and taking care of those times for yourself and looking at the future and planning for your family. One question I do ask is, like, have you already began to think of the future when it comes to your financial planning for your child, estate planning? What's your thoughts of what would happen if you weren't here? Yeah. Have you thought about those things?
I have. I've done the financial planning part, like they're all set financially. In terms of the estate planning, I haven't, and I probably need to do that. But so many of my friends are like, we got them, we don't have to worry about it. Like, I have an amazing, amazing support group. And I could just think of my aunts, I can think of my mother, I can think of, my mother-in-law, like so many people who would just jump right in. And my sister-in-laws that would just jump right in and take care of them. But I do need to do that. We've actually been talking about that, but financially they'll be set. But it's just in terms of, like, if something happens to me, who's going to take care of them? Something else that's been important to me is my sons go to a Montessori school. And so they're all about independence.
Yes.
And that's something I've really been working on with both of them, just being independent. So, getting their own clothes and, getting themselves dressed. That's difficult for some kids with autism. And
Very
so
true.
having things in place to where they can do that. Teaching them to cook, like we cook all the time together, so that they feel comfortable doing that. They can take care of each other when they get older.
Right.
That was one thing that I feared, like who's going to take care of him when I'm not around? He's learning how to take care of himself.
And that's the best gift you can give your child, is to teach them independence in that way. And like, I think that's many of each mother's, I think, dream and hope and prayer, is that they instill independence in their child, whatever level they are able to do so. Because we know not every child can do that on the spectrum, but for those who are able to, is for them to be independent as much as they can. So great to hear what you're doing, and you're not alone. And we're all on that journey and getting those actual formal estate planning plans things done. I'm there too. So that's why I also asked the question of others, because we're all in that same kind of stage. Like for me, I've recently learned the importance of how to set up his financials for his future, given that likely potentially he may be eligible for certain benefits in the future. Even though certain benefits, you're not able to have certain amounts of assets in your name in that respect. So that's when I began having the conversation with other estate planners. Okay, getting a special needs trust, then you can begin to invest and you can put money aside from him there that will not interfere with any Medicare benefits that may come, and Medicaid benefits, or whatever else that might be happening for him in that way. So being able to look forward to that now, so that way I can save and put aside and know that I can grow, has just been a great peace of mind for me too. Like say, your kids are financially set. It's more so now of getting them independent and be able to receive it, hopefully, when it's time. So good for you, Shamika. Go doing the right things.
Thank you so much. I'm trying. Initially it was really difficult, but getting the services and reaching out to different organizations and getting support in that manner, making sure he had ABA. He learned to advocate for himself at about first grade. He did ABA for kindergarten, pre-K4, kindergarten, because he was at the same Montessori school. The cool thing about their school is they have the same teacher for 3 years.
Oh, that's nice.
So pre-K3, pre-K4, kindergarten, same teacher. First, second, third, same teacher. So they know him, they understand him, they know how to make it work. And so we had the ABA going to the school, and some people have had great experiences with ABA. We had pretty good experiences, but it seemed like when it was in school, it would exasperate the situation. When he was having a meltdown, it would just make it worse. And then I think he started to notice that he was different. And so he advocated for not having an ABA. Like he no longer wanted them to come. And so in first grade, he was advocating for himself. And so we took them out, and we had to make sure that he wasn't having meltdowns, because that was the biggest issue. When the meltdown came, it became, it could be violent, like hitting, pushing, kicking. His whole entire first grade year, not one meltdown. Wow. Every day I picked him up from school. How was your day? He's no meltdown.
Oh, that's so great. Well, I love hearing, and that means he's self-aware. Like he's self-aware, knowing that he's not having meltdowns, and he's able to self-regulate his emotions at that age. Like that's big. If anything, it's served the purpose it needed to serve. He's kind of graduated from that, and it was able to do it on his own.
And we're still having some issues home with meltdowns, but it's not as bad, and he's regulating much better. But with online school, virtual school, it's a little bit more difficult because he loves school, but he's not there, and so it's really hard for him. But we're working our way through that. This kid is like a mini genius. Like he's smarter than me. Like he's so smart, especially in things that he loves, like science. Your kid's 4, so I don't know if they started spitting out facts to you or not. Or if he found
not yet, but no, he definitely amazes me because he loves trains, and he knows every part of a train. So like the couplers, the things that connect it, and all these different things he'd be saying to me, like, okay.
So that was Davis too. Like it was trains, and actually our psychiatrist said that's one of the hints. Trains.
Really?
She said that was that's one of the clues or one of the indicators. But loves trains, still likes trains, but now he's into animals, so he knows every single thing about animals. He walks around all day just, Mommy, did you know that? Did you know that? Like all day facts about animals. I have no idea where he gets all of this information from. He's reading like on a 4th or 5th grade level. Like this kid is brilliant, but his emotion.
Right.
And so that's one of those things, they call it a invisible disability because,
Yes.
people say the ignorant, he doesn't look like he has
You don't
autism.
look it. Yeah.
I don't know what you're supposed to look like, but in any case, he's, sometimes it's hard to tell that he has autism because he's so smart. But then, when he stems or, when he just goes into a topic and can't get off of it, right? Like you can definitely tell, but sometimes it's hard for people to realize that there is I don't call it a disability. I call it a different ability.
I agree.
And sometimes it's hard for people to tell. So I'm always like fighting, for that. Like, okay, I know it seems as though he's neurotypical, but he's not. So I need you to understand. So that's why I like the idea of having the same teacher for 3 years. So I don't have to continuously, every year, go, start over from the beginning.
And it's a Montessori school. Sorry to cut you off. Is that only to K3 or grade 3, or does it go on to high school level?
It's pre-K 3 to 8.
Okay.
Yeah, and so so they may continue and do the high school. There is conversation about that, but that hasn't been set in place yet. But right now he's only in 2nd, and I really like the type of education that he's getting, and I really like that they work with him. We've done the IEP and everything.
So in that setting, is that considered like a private school? So you're not in the public school in that area, or if you don't mind sharing, is that
he's actually in? It's a public school. It's part of the public school, but it's sort of like think of like a charter.
Yeah.
Right? But it's part of the school system, and it's a lottery to get in.
Oh, wonderful. That is great.
Yeah, so he's getting a quality education, and I'm just really proud of the progress. We still have our bad days. It's not perfect. We still have, and we're still doing like feeding therapy because he has texture issues. So there's only certain foods that he'll eat. Many autism moms have that issue.
Yes, we do. Right? So on that topic, because I just recently did a vlog talking about my son's food acceptance journey. And so I'm curious to hear from yours and that too. Like, what are some of your son's favorite things, and how do you introduce new foods to him now?
Yeah, I call him a carbitarian. He does not eat meat at all. Vegetables and fruit are really hard. I have to sneak them in, right? So he loves cornbread. So I'll loves cornbread. So I'll shred zucchini. Not the green part because he'll notice that, but like the white parts. And I'll, cook the zucchini in the cornbread where he'll get the vegetables, but he can't see it. He can't taste it. But he loves like noodles and pancakes and waffles and anything carbs, yogurt, yogurt. And it's a texture thing. It's all about texture with him, and applesauce. And sometimes he'll, like, if it smells really, really good, he'll say, that smells good. And he may try it. But his feeding therapist is amazing. And she can get him to try anything once. And so that's how we've been introducing new foods, by utilizing her. Like, he won't do it for me necessarily, but he'll do it for her.
Right. That's the same thing. He will not do it for me. It was so funny because I went to observe, at the center where he goes of them doing the feeding at lunch. And maybe she's because she's right there at his level, and she's just really sweet. But he just eats and so happy. And I was like, "What? Whose kid is this? He won't try anything I want to give him." But he's also a carbitarian. He loves bread. Bread is just like bread. What does he like? So fries, pretzels. Those are things he likes pretty much. Bananas he loves. Before I was saying he's like on the brat diet, like the banana rice, applesauce and toast. That's what he eats.
Oh yeah, that's what he'll eat too. Like anything bready or bread-like, he'll eat it, but he won't eat pizza. He won't eat pretzels. He won't eat it's so. That's why we just take food with us when we go somewhere.
Right.
Because we know we can't stop at a fast food place because, he won't eat it. He'll eat the ice cream.
He really that.
He'll eat ice cream. But, excuse me, anything else, fries, burgers, pizza, he does not eat any of those things. So it's a little difficult sometimes because it's like, aren't you tired of eating the same thing? He's like, no.
Yeah, he knows what he likes. So that's it. And so let me ask you then, in regards to the sibling relationship, how is it for you, for your boys, and how their interactions?
They are best friends, but they fight like cats and dogs. Like, the younger one, because of the sensory issues, sometimes there's a back and forth with my younger son. He'll be singing his little songs, and then the other one will get upset because it's too much for him. So it's like an over processing. So we do try to explain to both of them what's going on. But they get along really, really well. They play together well. But like any sibling, they have their fights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's trying to just make the 4-year-old kind of understand why he's having an issue with the noise that you're making, or why he likes to watch the same thing over and over and over again. And so it's like those little things, like trying to explain to a 4-year-old is a little bit difficult, but we try. Yeah, we try. But they have a pretty good relationship.
Oh, that's good. Like you said, that happens in every family with siblings too. Like they'll find a way to egg you or annoy you in some way.
Exactly.
So that's regular little sibling stuff right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, that's great to hear. Because as you know, I have one child, but for God bless, I have a second child. And I know one concern I had in my back of my mind said, okay, well, will my second child also be autistic, or how will that may be? Yeah, I don't know if you had those same kind of feelings. Did you have hesitations as well?
Yeah, I wondered as well, but he didn't have any of those issues that his brother had in daycare, because they went to the exact same daycare, exact same teachers.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So, but no, he didn't have any of those issues. And I was even wondering because, the conversation of the vaccine, and once he got the vaccine, they had the exact same doctor, exact same everything. One ended up with autism and one didn't. And so is it a fluke? Is it science? I don't, we still really don't know. But then there's some families where all the kids have autism.
There is, yeah. And as I said, I heard a spectrum of those kind of experiences where only one child does, and then all of them have it. So he said it's genetic in that respect, and either way, we love our child for who that unique child they are. We love them for who they are.
Absolutely.
So thank you for sharing that with me. And I guess in closing, if you have any questions for me, anything that you want me maybe know more about, I'm going to make it a two-way conversation. I thank you for chatting with me and responding to my request for someone to talk to. In these COVID times, you can't go to, parent groups like we used to be able to and meet new friends there. So thank God for Facebook and all these great groups that we have. Any questions or thoughts from you?
Just one thought. The one thing I can say that really helped me a lot is that I don't know if you guys do this, if you do this, but I keep a binder for everything, like his grades, his report cards, the assessments. I have a folder in my email of all the correspondence back and forth with teachers, with doctors, so that I have evidence, proof. I can just put my hands right on it. I think that's really important for parents to keep up with, especially when you're going into IEP meetings, especially when you are trying to get services. Like, everything is right there. You don't have to look for it.
That is a great tip. You're not wrong. I have my book right here too.
I keep my binder.
I have my little binder book of all his things. I like Romans are there. I think probably every mom probably does this, but maybe doesn't always share that tip to others who are maybe newly diagnosed, like you said. Like it's good to have that. Like I said, bring that with you and add it as things go along. So thank you for sharing. That's a great tip.
No problem. And I've also been able to find money. You just have to do the research. It's out there. The money is out there. I've gotten several $1,000s to send him to summer camp, to pay for materials that he may need, to pay for the co-pays for his therapies. the money's out there. You just really have to just do the research and apply. And I'm
Mhm.
always getting money coming in for him. And
That's
so
a
that's
blessing.
been a benefit
Yeah.
because it's been helpful to send him to summer camp so he can explore the things that he likes. Right now, we have a grant where he's starting to play the trumpet.
Oh, I love
And
that.
so he's getting those lessons. It's virtually, of course, but he's getting those lessons and it's fully paid for by an organization in town. And so all of those, so utilize those resources, I would say, because I know a lot of people
Mhm.
don't have access to funding for ABA and things of that nature, but there's
Right.
definitely resources out there because ABA can be very expensive.
It can be.
Yeah.
It can be. I mean, thankfully for my employment covers the cost of ABA.
Hmm.
But I went back and I looked at the cost of like the
Hmm.
billing. It was easily $50,000 for that treatment last year, and all
Exactly.
I had to pay was my 3,000 family copay.
Hmm.
So I was like, God, I thank you. And that just really made me to think about, wow, for those who don't have those resources,
Hmm.
I can see why so many can go without, even with the diagnosis, which is sad
Hmm.
to say. So
Yeah.
thank you, Jamaica, for making that point. Do
Hmm.
research, find there are organizations who are supporting families with those kinds of needs. So
Hmm. And
thank you.
provide opportunities for them, like the lessons or a trip
Right.
to the museum or a trip
Mm-hmm.
so there's always, organizations out there that provide those. It's just that we have to seek them out. And a lot of times in our community, we don't know that these things exist. So
Very
other
true.
kids are benefiting from them, but we're not. But I'm that one that I'm going to research and find the money.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would
You
definitely.
Oh, sorry. And I was going to say one thing I believe in is always thinking ways that how your hard work in doing that research to find those resources, how
Hmm.
you can bless other people and also to bless yourself. Maybe
Hmm.
might do an ebook, honey. I mean, really, honestly, like that could be an ebook for families and to find resources like that for their children. So
Yeah.
just a thought, hey, put it out there.
That's a thought.
Because
I know
like,
it's different in every state,
because
but
I never knew. I mean, I never really thought about that, honestly. So sometimes, like, your things that could be an expertise that just came natural to you, that could be like a big thing for someone else to hear and know. So,
yeah. Well,
so
thank you so much. I'll consider that.
well, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. I know it's a busy Saturday for most of us, and so thank you, Shamika, for
Thank
joining me
you.
today to talk about your joys, your struggles, and all of your experiences of being an autism mom and just being a woman. And I thank you for sharing that with me.
Thank you. You have a great day.
You too.
All right.
Goodbye.
Bye.